Another day, another story. In little over 6 months after the tragedy of the partition of India, on January 30, 1948, another tragedy visited the fledgling state. If partition could largely be ascribed to Muslim communalism, aided by colonialism, then Hindu communalism bears the responsibility for the assassination of the greatest living Hindu. On January 30, as Mahatma Gandhi was walking towards the prayer mandap at Birla House in Delhi, 36-year-old Nathuram Godse came before him and pulled out a pistol from his pocket. He fired 3 shots from point-blank range that hit Gandhi in the chest, stomach, and groin. Within 15 minutes, the father of the nation was dead. Gandhi's assassination was a premeditated act. In November 1947, Karyanand Sharma, the CPI Kisan leader from Bihar, had warned that the demand for a Hindu Raj was very bad, and behind it there was a conspiracy to murder Gandhiji and Panditji. Gandhi himself understood the true nature of the abortive attempt that was made on his life on January 20, 1948. When a co-worker wondered if the bomb blast was accidental, he replied, "The fool, don't you see, there is a terrible and widespread conspiracy behind it?" In his presidential address to the Hindu Mahasabha in 1937, V.D. Savarkar, the creator of the concept of Hindutva, the first to propound the two-nation theory, and the organizer of the conspiracy to murder the Mahatma, declared, "India cannot be assumed today to be an unitarian and homogeneous nation, but on the contrary there are two nations in the main, Hindus and Muslims, in India." He refers to centuries of a cultural, religious and national antagonism between the Hindus and the Muslims. The title of the section in which the above statements are made is, "As it is there are two antagonistic nations living side by side in India." India is not a nation but it is the name of the state in which these two nations exist. On August 15, 1947, two nation-states were born. One of them, Pakistan, could be said to conform to Savarkar's definition of nation, but the one to which he belonged, India, was stubbornly refusing to fall in line. The biggest obstacle, it seemed, was the Mahatma himself. He had to be removed. With him alive, neither Hindu Rashtra nor Akhand Bharat could become a reality. There is consensus that it was an extreme wing of the Hindu Mahasabha led by Savarkar that was behind Gandhi's murder. In January 1948, when Gandhi was assassinated, Savarkar was arrested as the mastermind behind the conspiracy. He was eventually exonerated in the Gandhi murder trial for lack of evidence to corroborate the testimony of the approver, a technical point of criminal law. Sardar Patel, being a fine criminal lawyer, was personally convinced of Savarkar's guilt, otherwise he would not have agreed to put him up for trial. He told Jawaharlal Nehru in unambiguous terms, "It was a fanatical wing of the Hindu Mahasabha directly under Savarkar that hatched the conspiracy and saw it through." The trial began in May 1948 at a special court set up in Delhi's Red Fort. The monument had earlier been the venue for the trials of the last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, who was deported to Burma, and, around 9 decades later, of the members of the Indian National Army. The trial took place before Special Judge Atma Charan, a senior member of the judicial branch of the Indian Civil Service. The prosecution was led by C.K. Daftari, then Advocate General of Bombay, who later became Solicitor General of India, and then the Attorney General for India. In the book, Why They Killed Gandhi, Unmasking the Ideology and the Conspiracy, Ashok Kumar Pandey wrote, "The law took its course wherein Godse was supplied with legal aid at government expense, and most of his demands during his stay in jail were fulfilled." On the second day of the trial, Godse admitted that while in detention, everyone had been civil to him, Pandey wrote. The judgment was pronounced on February 10, 1949. Judge Atma Charan convicted Godse, Apte, and 5 others of the crime. Both Godse and Apte were sentenced to death. The judge also announced that the convicts could file an appeal against the order. 4 days later, all of them filed their appeals in the Punjab High Court, which was then known as the East Punjab High Court, and located in Shimla. The appeals were heard by a bench that including Justice Khosla, Justice A.N. Bandari, and Justice Achru Ram. During the proceedings, Godse refused to be represented by a lawyer and asked to be allowed to argue his appeal himself. The court accepted his request. Justice Khosla wrote that while speaking in the court, the assassin didn't repent his crime and used the opportunity to exhibit himself as a fearless patriot and a passionate protagonist of Hindu ideology. He had remained completely unrepentant of his atrocious crime, and whether out of a deep conviction in his beliefs or merely in order to make a last public apology, he had sought this opportunity of displaying his talents before he dissolved into oblivion, Justice Khosla wrote. The bench gave its verdict on June 21, 1949. It confirmed the findings and sentences of the lower court except in the cases of Dattatreya Parchure and Shankar Kistaya, who were acquitted of all charges. The convicts also filed a petition for special leave to appeal to the Privy Council, which was the highest court in India during British rule, and was replaced by the Supreme Court in 1950. However, the petition was rejected. The hanging of Godse and Apte became inevitable after the Governor-General of India rejected their mercy petitions. Both men were hanged on November 15, 1949, in Ambala jail. When the Commission of Inquiry set up in 1965 under Justice Jivan Lal Kapoor, a former judge of the Supreme Court of India, gave its report, it came to the following conclusion. All these facts taken together were destructive of any theory other than the conspiracy to murder by Savarkar and his group. Nathuram Godse made out at his trial that only he and Apte were involved in the conspiracy, that the Hindu Mahasabha, let alone the RSS, had nothing to do with it. But Godse was the chief organizer and Apte the secretary of the Hind Rashtra Dal, set up in Pune in 1942 as a volunteer organization to carry out the secret activities of the Mahasabha. Godse's links with the RSS were also confirmed by his brother. The RSS, however, in its usual duplicitous manner, has insisted that he was not associated with them. Senior BJP leader L.K. Advani said in an interview in 1993. Nathuram Godse was a bitter critic of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. His charge was that the RSS had made Hindus important. We have had nothing to do with Godse. There is no doubt that the communalized atmosphere created by the riots, migrations and massacres that accompanied partition was extremely conducive for the growth of Hindu communalism. If you found this video informative, please like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.